The information contained in this episode is for informational purposes only. No material is intended to be a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment.
We need a revolution. There's only one solution. I need somebody to show me the love. We need a revolution.
Welcome to Informed Life Radio on 1150 AM KKNW, streaming live here and on CHD TV. I'm your host this week, Lisa Templeton, standing in for Bernadette Pager, and we're excited and grateful you are here, dear listener. Thanks for spending your time with us, and we hope that you will share your goodwill with us with donation support to help us keep this free speech on the radio. I would like to welcome today, first of all, I want to say that the information on this show does not constitute medical or legal advice, and it's for informational purposes only. And welcome. We're really lucky to have this gentleman on. And attorney with international clientele. He's president of national.
Excuse us, we are currently
Organization
experiencing.
established in 1955 and
Excuse us, we are currently experiencing some technical difficulties right now, so we are working on Lisa's connection here. She is having some troubles on her end with her laptop right now, and it seems like her phone is now getting affected as well. Seems like she is now getting back into her connection. Oops, we just lost her. And so we are going to take a little moment right now to run some of our PSAs for the show here, and we'll be back with you soon in just a moment as we work on getting Lisa connected with us. So stay with us.
Informed Choice Washington is a nonprofit organization that advocates for healthy immunity, medical freedom, and fully informed medical consent. The right to make medical choices without coercion is fundamental to our civil liberties and a basic principle in all human rights declarations. To learn more, tune in each Friday from 4 to 5 p.m. to an Informed Life Radio and visit the website informedchoicewa.org. It's time to take a stand for medical freedom. Go to informedchoicewa.org today.
Okay, looks like we got Lisa back here now. Lisa, are you there?
thank you. And yes, can you hear me?
I can. Go ahead.
Okay, thank you, Nathan. Well, Mr. Scott Tips, are you here too?
Yes, I am. Thank you, Lisa.
And it seems like we might still have a little bit of a delay here from Lisa as people are speaking. Are you still there, Lisa? Can you hear us okay? Okay, well, at this time, Scott, just go ahead and tell us a little bit about who you are and what brings you to the program today.
Sure.
I understand you are part of National Health Freedom, our federation.
Yeah, National Health Federation. Completely different organization from National Health Freedom Coalition. Not related whatsoever. We're the original deal. We are the 71 years old health freedom organization, the world's oldest health freedom organization. And we're proud to work with organizations like Informed Choice Washington, which do a terrific job in the state of Washington and continue to do terrific work there. And we're just very proud of them and the work that they do. It's medical freedom couldn't be more important than it is these days. And so I'm an attorney. I'm licensed in the state of California, went to UC Berkeley Law School, didn't get infected by the viruses there, the mind viruses that seem to convert people into automatons for government or corporate interests. So I dodged that bullet. And back in 1986, I guess, I joined the National Health Federation and I became its in house counsel about 3 years later, and a board member as well for a while, and served under the then president of the organization, Maureen Kennedy Solomon, who was a terrific leader and really believed fervently in the cause of health freedom, and then sadly died in 2006, August 2006. And I succeeded to the presidency, which I never wanted to do. But I've been the president of the National Health Federation for over 19 years now.
All right. Well, as we go into this interview, we apologize for the delays that Lisa is currently experiencing, but thankfully she has provided a list of questions here for the program. So as we wait for her to get back into a solid and consistent connection, I'm just going to go ahead and start going through these questions for you. So thank you for telling us all about the National Health Federation and giving us a brief introduction, or somewhat brief. I know is you gave us a lot of detail in that. But what we want to know, first of all, is, the National Health Federation has been active since 1955, and we are curious about what was happening in the 1950s that led to the founding of the National Health Federation, and how was the mission evolved since the 1950s?
Well, it's funny that you ask that, because if you look at Wikipedia, it was founded, the NHF, the National Health Federation, was founded by a fraudster, according to Wikipedia. But of course, we all know that Wikipedia is run by a bunch of big pharma trolls. So, so you can discount whatever Wikipedia says. But what was actually the case was it was founded by a man who loved his wife very dearly, and she was dying of cancer. And he went around trying to find the answer to the solution to curing her. And he left no stones unturned. This was 100 years ago, more than 100 years ago. So NHF actually has its roots stretching back up 100 years. And he found someone. He found someone who had an electromagnetic device. This is 1920s technology, so it's not like the electronic devices today. In some ways, it might have actually been better. Other ways, maybe not. But it did work on his wife, Ava, and she lived for many, many years. But what happened is, hey, lucky us, the FDA came to visit, and they decided that this device was an unapproved, unauthorized medical device, and they were going to shut it down. And so they reached an in-court settlement with Fred Hart, or Dr. Abrams, sorry. Fred Hart's the founder of NHF. Dr. Abrams, not to sell the device outside of the state of California. And this was also an order that applied to Fred Hart. And Fred Hart had founded something called the Electronic Foundation. And this foundation was promoting these devices and the uses of them and information about them. But anyway, to make a long story short, because I know we don't have a lot of time, the FDA was able to trick Fred Hart into selling a device across state lines to a chiropractor, supposed chiropractor in Reno, Nevada. And then they sprung their trap, and they were able to go back into court, say it violated the order, and take away all his devices, and that's what his uh, his wife's life depended on, was fairly continual use of the device to keep the cancer at bay. Well, she died, and he was so infuriated he founded, well, he had already founded NHF some years before, but then he devoted his time and attention to it until 1976, fighting the FDA and exposing them for the frauds that they are. You know, the FDA, according to Dirk Pearson and Sandy Shaw, has caused more deaths in America than all the wars that the United States has fought, from the Revolutionary War to the present. They've caused more deaths in this country. And maybe Fred Hart didn't know exactly that at the time, but he knew they weren't up to any good, and that all they were interested in is protecting the pharmaceutical interests and big agricultural interests in cahoots with the U.S. Department of Agriculture. So he took on this mission, and with the National Health Federation, we pursued it. So some of the early things were getting fluoride out of the public water supplies, stopping malathion spraying over cities such as San Francisco that was being done, and getting a lot of the pesticides out of the food supply.
Scott, what's malathion?
Malathion was a spray that, and I remember this too, although I wasn't involved with NHF at the time, but they would have helicopters fly over cities at night, spray the malathion to kill off the mosquitoes. And they were worried at the time, and I'm sorry, it's been so many years now, I forget what the worry was exactly, but it was a huge insecticide spray that they did. But it also affected humans, caused a lot of problems, just like polio is really caused by arsenic-laced pesticides and not by a virus. This was similar problems were created by malathion. So we worked in
Say that again.
malathion,
Okay.
Malathion, malathion.
What was the arsenic?
Sorry?
The
What was
arsenic.
Oh,
So
well,
sorry,
that was
Scott. We're
back.
going to get this straightened out. You said that arsenic was actually to blame for something viral. It was claimed to have been viral.
Right.
Is it
Well,
polio?
there's a lot of, yeah, polio. There's a lot of evidence now that, and the big poster child for this was FDR, Franklin Delano Roosevelt, our president in the 30s and into the mid 40s. And he acquired polio as a young man. And what they didn't really realize at the time, or maybe they did and they just ignored it, is that he would be at the family properties in New York, and I think it was Long Island. It could have been even up to Martha's Vineyard, but I'm not sure exactly where. But he was exposed to a lot of spraying that was done on the plants and grapes and things like that, and it was heavily laced with arsenic. And there were some other chemicals in there as well, and that's the true cause of polio, because you really didn't have polio before they started using these arsenic-based pesticides and herbicides. And then you have this, sudden growth of cases, and they just decided, if all you have is a hammer, everything looks like a nail. And so, it has to be a virus. And then Salk came up with the sugar cube polio vaccine. And then supposedly polio was wiped out in the late 1970s worldwide, but it's been making a comeback. But a lot of these problems are due to toxins in our environment. They aren't due to a virus so much as the toxins in the environment. In fact, one of our board members, Dr. Thomas Levy, wrote a book that it just came out just in February last month, and it's called Toxins Cause All Disease. And he
Okay.
goes through, I mean, it's like this thick, and he goes through all the
Oh.
evidence for that. It's an
Okay.
amazing book.
I bet. This also, I haven't seen that one yet, but Moth and the Iron Lung by Forrest Morady.
Yes.
This discussion
you.
reminds me of that.
Yeah. Thank you. I had forgotten about that book, but that's a classic.
Yes, it is. Yeah, he did a really great interview with Naomi Wolf about raw milk as well, and he's written a book about how we've been told the wrong story about that, and how it was maligned and said to be unsafe when that was really not the case. Hey, let me back up just a little bit and apologize for these technical difficulties, and thank you, Nathan, for helping us smooth things over a bit. Tell me, what was I going to just ask you?
It's all right. I understand how this works because I've been on that end as well, where I have been frozen and then, suddenly released. And meanwhile, the conversation has gone on for a while. So,
Thank you.
and you had a lot of questions. So I'm happy to hear any of them and try my best to answer them.
Oh, thank you so much, Scott. You're very gracious. Hey, I want to know, National Health Federation has listed on its website Mossy Rock, Washington as its headquarters. Do you mind if I ask if you're in Washington State? Do you reside here, or how that was the founding location?
I'm not right now, but our CFO and one of our board members, Catherine Carroll, is located in Mossy Rock, and we relocated our offices from Southern California to actually Morton. We use Mossy Rock for the P.O. box, but the physical offices are in Morton, which is a 20-minute drive from Mossy Rock inland, closer to whatever that pass is called. I'm sorry, it's my turn to block on it.
Okay.
In any event, it's a 20-minute drive on Highway 12 from Mossy Rock.
Yeah.
And
well,
we've been there for about, since the COVID pandemic, so 4 or 5 years, I guess.
Okay. Well, what an honor to have this esteemed organization based here in Washington State.
Thank you. We love
you.
it. We love it in Washington State. Certainly better than that state down south that we used to be in.
Okay. Where you're licensed as an attorney, which I hear isn't that the hardest bar exam in the nation?
It is. It is the hardest one because they don't grade on a curve. New York is second hardest, but they grade on a curve. So score on the curve. Yeah.
Okay. Tell us, NHF describes itself as the oldest health freedom organization. And can you tell me what health freedom means in practical terms to you today?
Oh my God, that's like an incredibly philosophical question, it sounds like. But, health freedom, just plain and simply, is the right for an individual to choose for himself or herself what they want to do with their own body, just so long as they aren't interfering with the equal right of others to do the same. And so that means, really, it gets down to some critical issues, but in the broadest sense of the term, it means the right to choose what supplements to take, what herbs to take, what medical treatments to take for him or her, even if you or I think they're crazy for doing it. Maybe they think wearing a tinfoil hat is the best way to save themselves. Well, I'm sorry, it's their life, it's their body. They get to decide. Now, if they're certifiably insane, then, the community reasonably intervenes, but you don't give that decision-making authority to a bureaucrat and expect them to exercise it responsibly. So health freedom to us is it also encompasses the name of your organization, Informed Choice. It also has to be an informed choice, and it has to be something where people can't make good decisions if they don't have informed choice. If certain facts or dangers or risks are hidden from them, then they are not able to exercise health freedom. So that's an important component of it. There's also another aspect, which is medical freedom, but a lot of people see those two terms as interchangeable, including me to a large extent, but there are differences. And medical, of course, and it really implies more doctors and hospitals and that sort of thing. But, we have such a sorry state of medical care in the United States these days. I mean, if I were to, God forbid, break a leg, first place I go to is a doctor or a hospital for something like that, a traumatic injury. That's probably one of the best things you can do. But for chronic or degenerative diseases, the last place I would ever think of going to is an American hospital. And there are just so many things wrong with it. You can't even begin. And so many people were killed off and during the pandemic by hospital protocols that were really insane. Putting people on ventilators, giving them remdesivir. I'm not even pronouncing that right now. Used to pronounce it really well during the pandemic, and now that it's passed, I've let it slip. In any event, drugs that'll destroy your kidneys and the like, and it's just totally insane. They probably, in my opinion, they probably cause more deaths than, of course, the so-called virus itself. And certainly the protocols did, and the mandates didn't help it either. And the worst thing about it all is while they're dying in the hospital, their relatives and their loved ones couldn't go and visit them unless they were vaccinated. And a lot of people were too smart to get vaccinated, so they didn't get in and see them before they passed away. I mean, it's all so tragic,
Inhumane.
unnecessary, and wasteful. I mean, it's just wasteful. But it was deliberately planned. I mean, they had the vaccines ready really before the so-called virus hit the country. And a lot of these things, one of the things that NHF is really keen on stopping are these weapons grade bioweapon labs that are in the US. I mean, there are, I can't remember the number now, but 37 to 47 in Ukraine alone, within a short distance of the Russian border. And I mean, talk about provocative. And then not to mention all the ones in the US, both the known ones and the Chinese Communist Party ones that they've been uncovering in California especially.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Sasha Latapova talked about also how they had these things at the ready. And I think they retroactively dated the declaration of emergency so that it would encompass a different trigger date for these pharmaceutical companies being instructed to go ahead and launch the work on the next phase of this so-called vaccine. Back to the pesticides you mentioned a few minutes ago. Tell us a little bit about Codex Alimentarius and what that is and why that's important and how that ties together with these chemicals used on our agricultural products.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Codex Alimentarius is a 63-year-old organization created under the auspices of the Food and Agricultural Organization, FAO, based in Rome, and the World Health Organization based in Geneva, Switzerland. And they jointly created this commission, the Codex Alimentarius Commission in 1963, to create food standards. It actually has a very noble purpose. Its purpose, stated purpose at least, is to protect consumers and to protect the food supply, ensure food security. So actually, NHF agrees with that stated purpose. The problem is that so much of the work at Codex has been co-opted by front groups from industry, big agriculture and big pharmaceutical companies. Now, keep in mind, Codex Alimentarius is only about food, supposedly, but it does deal with drug residues in animals and drug residues in wherever they might be. So you have various committees that were spawned from the commission itself. Think of it as the parent body. And then it has these committees, 20 some odd committees. And we go to NHF became an accredited INGO, International Non-Governmental Organization, accepted by the Codex Commission to participate actively in these meetings that they hold worldwide. So not only do I personally go to the commission meetings, which are annual, and they alternate in Rome and in Geneva. So this one coming up in July 2026 will be in Geneva. But what they do is they set food standards and food guidelines, and they will designate codes of practice for food as well. And this covers pesticides. So there's a committee called the Codex Committee on Pesticide Residues, and it's hosted by the Chinese government. And to be fair to them, the chairman of the committee hosted by China are usually really pretty good chair people. They do a good job and they're pretty fair, unlike some other committees I've attended. Usually what NHF attends is Codex Committee on Foods and on Nutrition and Foods for Special Dietary Uses, Codex Committee on Food Labeling, Codex Committee on General Principles, although we haven't gone to that for a while, the Codex Committee on Pesticide Residue, Codex Committee on Food Additives, the commission itself, as I already mentioned. And there's another one that we occasionally go to, but it escapes me. Food Hygiene, Codex Committee on Food Hygiene. There are some other committees, but they aren't critical to our interests. Our budget is limited, so we can't go to, as every committee we wish to go to. But the pesticide residue is critical, and I could tell you're zeroing in on that one with the Codex question. So what happens is, and this could take up our whole hour just going through this, so I don't want to take up all your time on Codex, but it is something that NHF is the only health freedom organization accredited by Codex to do this. And we went from being laughed at, ignored, and ridiculed in our first year or two or three at Codex to now, I think, from what I can observe, we're one of the most highly respected INGOs at Codex. Certainly one
That's very good.
That's kind of feared by our opponents. For instance, ractopamine and silpaterol, which are two beta agonist drugs, steroid-like drugs that are given to pigs and cattle and the like. NHF, in working with the European Union, was able to keep it off the market worldwide for years. Probably cost Merck millions of dollars in sales because of that. And they hate our guts. And they did all sorts of little dirty tricks to to teach us a lesson or something. I don't know
Right.
what was behind that thinking, but, and I won't go into what they did, but anyway, so we've been fighting that, usually because the European Union, because Russia, because India follow the precautionary principle. We usually end up on the pesticide question siding with those countries in that region more than Western hemispheric countries. You can pretty much count every country in the Western hemisphere, from Canada in the north, Argentina and Chile in the south, are going to toe the U.S. line, which is not MAHA, by the way,
Mm,
very anti-MAHA. And so we find ourselves on the opposite side of our own country at Codex
yeah.
meetings arguing on these things. And people go, and this will make you laugh, but even the Iranian delegation at Codex meetings is more, consumer health conscious oriented than the American delegation. It's incredible. So,
Yeah. It seems like U.S. seems to be the target of a lot of corrupt influences, maybe.
it is,
Sooner than
yeah.
others.
They dominate, and the of the INGOs. So you have the Codex staff that's up there, the Codex Secretariat, and they're pretty fair people. The day-to-day workers who are there and the officers who are there, they're really pretty fair. They've treated us very nicely at Codex.
Yeah.
Maybe one or two exceptions, and those were outlying things that don't really count. And then you have the country delegates. These are usually FDA or USDA type, the equivalent in their countries, type bureaucrats who are paid 9 to 5 to do their work. And most of them are actually very nice people. They're just doing their job, but they have their instructions from the home office, and it's hard for them to deviate from that.
Right.
And then you have the INGOs and the international non-governmental organizations and the IGOs like UNICEF and that sort of thing. So we're at the meeting. They let the countries speak first, then the INGOs get to speak. A lot of times I speak more than all the other INGOs combined. Not
Wow.
all.
You must do a lot of research to prepare for that.
Yeah,
And you've even written a book. You've written a couple of books describing the Codex.
yeah.
We'll be sure to include a link to those. We have several more things I want to cover, so just give me a quick synopsis, if you would, Scott. I pardon the rushing, about your books.
Yeah, the book is, I actually have a book, but I'd have to get up to show it, but it looks kind of like that. And that's volume 2. It's really just a compilation of articles I've written and other people have written as well over the last, over the last 28 years about Codex. So what happens is at the end of each committee meeting or commission meeting, there's a report that's written, and it's dry as dust, and they have a policy of not identifying the speakers or who took what position, except in rare circumstances. I don't agree with that policy because I think third-party people need to be informed. So what happens after each meeting I attend to, and this is every meeting I've attended, I write an article and I name names and I identify players and non-players. And so that's what the Codex book is about. It's about giving a real record of who said what and what happened at those meetings, and really, in a sense, why it happened. I encourage people to get the books. It can be both in either digital form or in printed form. And there are 2 volumes of it, covering all these last years. I've been going to these
Okay.
meetings for 25 years. This is my 26th
25.
year.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Okay. Before we only have about 10 minutes left, and I want to make sure we have time to cover this wonderful conference you have coming up in Dallas. And I also want to make sure we cover how to become a member of National Health Federation. I just became a member today, and that means I'm going to be receiving your quarterly journal in the mail, which I'm very excited about. So do you want to first tell us about this amazing conference you have coming up?
Yeah, thank you. It's our 71st anniversary event, not annual, but anniversary, because we went for about 20 years not holding any conferences but one. And we'll have an amazing array of speakers from Catherine Austin Fitz, who's always an incredible crowd pleaser and is also an NHF member, by the way, and a good friend of mine. And we'll have attorney Thomas Rentz there, who's an incredible speaker. Judy Mikovits will be there. Dr. Jerry Tennant speaking about electronic medicine, electrical voltage medicine will be there. Dr. Nunnally is going to talk about biological dentistry. We have Andy Wakefield, who's going to drive up from Austin to Dallas and honor us with his presence and his words of wisdom. And Tom Levy, whom I mentioned earlier in this broadcast, he's our vice chairman, actually, and he will be one of our speakers. We have a whole bunch. If you go to conference.thenhf.com, so conference.thenhf.com, you can get more of the details. It's kind of an evolving website. So what you see today will be improved upon tomorrow.
Okay, it's going to be amazing. And how much, it just starts at what price? It's a very reasonable price.
Yeah, we had considerable expenses for this event, so it cost more than it did last year, but it's still only, the basic package is $200 to attend, all speakers and all of that. Now, that was our
That's
early
very
bird
good.
pricing. So we
Is that
decided
still
to
in effect?
Yeah, it's still in effect because we decided to do away with early bird price and just keep it at the 200 because there are a lot of
Okay.
people who couldn't afford more.
Okay, and tell us, it's in Dallas. Tell us the date.
So the dates are April 23rd, that's a Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, April 23rd, 24th, and 25th. Most of the speakers will be on the 24th and the 25th, but there will be a very nice meet and greet, and I'll be speaking, and Jamie Belts will be speaking on Thursday evening. So it's kind of like a 2.5-day event, and it's at the Embassy Suites Hotel. They have a free shuttle service to and from DFW, not to Love Field where Southwest Airlines flies, but to DFW. And
Okay.
there will be plenty of opportunity to speak and meet with the speakers in person. And there will be good vendors at this event. I mean, we have a good number.
Oh, I imagine.
Weston A. Price Foundation will be there. We have a lot of people. I'm sorry, I'm not in charge of the vendor table, so I don't know. All of Now Foods will be there. Ridgecrest Herbals, I know. Andy Wakefield will have a table. But there will be a good number of people there, and it'll be a chance to network. It'll be a chance to make connections. It'll be a chance to push forward people's own organizations there if they so wish. So
Yeah. What a great opportunity to meet like-minded people and just such important figures in the movement. So again, tell us the website again, please, Scott.
Well, conference.thenhf.com. And you know,
That's
people
DTHE.
people at last year's event were so thrilled by having gone. That's why we decided to do it again this year, and also in Dallas. Next year we'll probably do it in Pittsburgh or someplace like that.
Oh,
But
yeah.
this year we're doing it here in Dallas, and
So, yeah, Washingtonians take advantage while it's relatively close to home. It should be fantastic, and you still have plenty of time to get a good flight price and everything.
yeah, thank you for that.
Oh, yes, thank you. You know, I got the email and I thought, oh, this is going to be my opportunity to reach out to you because I've known about NHF for a little while, and it just kind of dawned on me recently that you guys are headquartered in Mossy Rock, and so that was the impetus to reach out, and you were so gracious to accept right away to be on our show.
Thank you. Well, Mossy Rock is our global headquarters, so it sounds kind of funny, but we have branch organizations in Sweden and Germany, and so they're all over, and we'd love to work with Informed Choice Washington. So we have to continue this contact, and I certainly encourage anyone watching this who lives in Washington to join your organization.
Well, and right back at you. Tell
you.
the members how they can join NHS. And we only have about 4 minutes left. And what are some, I already mentioned the journal, but some of the wonderful benefits of being a member, as well as tell us a little bit about your sister organization and why you have two different ones, kind of like we do. We have a C3 and a C4.
Yeah, the C4 is more educational, has a huge library situated in Morton, Washington, by the way. And so it's accessible with rare and priceless books in it and some more common books. But that's our sister organization, the Foundation for Health Research. And like you said, it's a 501c4. And so you can join the organization, either just do a digital membership, which is $25 a year, or what I recommend, do the $45 a year, and you get the hard copy of the magazine. And it's just so much better to have it in your hands than everything being digital. So $45 a year, and what it does is it supports our efforts at Codex, supports our efforts in Washington, D.C., the other Washington, with our lobbyists. We have a lobbyist who works for us there, Charles Froman, who, by the way, will be speaking at our event in Dallas, and he'll have a couple of panels on geoengineering and on wireless that I think people are very interesting.
Yes, very important. So you guys do lobbying, you do education. I mean, gosh, you're traveling international every year and totally up to speed on these very complicated matters to really help shape policy in a better way for our people worldwide.
Yeah, we try our best, and we also will participate in lawsuits by writing amici curiae briefs and the like. So that's another thing that we do. And we run campaigns to influence legislation, either statewide or in Congress, U.S. Congress.
And how can people get involved in those?
Well, they just need to write us
in action.
Yeah, in the calls to action on our website, thenhf.com. That's where you go to join. And you can also, at the header at the top, you'll also see campaigns. So you click on that, and you'll see some of our campaigns. We're in the midst of switching the service that we use for sending emails to Congress to influence your Congress critter. So bear with us on that. But Charles Froman's been excellent at pushing our health freedom agenda at Congress at the federal level. and sometimes
That's
state
amazing.
levels as well.
Okay, so people can go to the NHF, that's THENHF.com, to sign up for action alerts and also chime in on the campaigns. Well, I am just amazed at just the scope of your work, and we're just so grateful to have you on, Scott. And maybe you could come on again another time, and I'll try not to have technical issues, although that would have never been what I chose.
Well, next time it'll be me having the technical issues. So I completely understand, and I'd be thrilled to be back on your program, Lisa.
Well, thank you so much. Do you have like a 30-second closing remark, Scott?
Well, just that if we're going to succeed at obtaining true health freedom, we need to work together. And we need to be persistent in our work. And being a dedicated minority, we can succeed. I mean, it really comes down to that.
Yeah, and I feel that there are more and more of us.
Yes, I agree. There are. You know, the legacy that we want to leave are not words carved in stone, but rather what effect we have on other people's lives and how we weave our truths into their lives. So that's an old saying from ancient Greek times from Pericles, but it still applies today just as much as ever.
Yes, classic words of wisdom. Well, thank you again so much, Scott, for taking the time. Are you in Europe right now?
I am. I'm
Okay.
here, but I'm maybe getting ready to go back to the States. We'll see. Certainly,
Okay.
I'll be there for the April event, but
Okay.
I may have to go sooner than that. Anyway.
Well, thank you. And I'd also like to say thank you to our skilled producer at the station who went above and beyond today with his professional work behind the scenes. And thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for tuning in to Informed Life Radio on 1150 AM KKNW and CHD TV. This is your guest host, Lisa Templeton, signing off for the week. Bernadette will be back soon, and here's to embracing your informed life.
Informed Choice Washington is a nonprofit organization that advocates for healthy immunity, medical freedom, and fully informed medical consent. The right to make medical choices without coercion is fundamental to our civil liberties and a basic principle in all human rights declarations. To learn more, tune in each Friday from 4 to 5 p.m. to an Informed Life Radio and visit the website informedchoicewa.org. It's time to take a stand for medical freedom. Go to informedchoicewa.org today.
Did you know that solutions containing iodine can inactivate viruses in the nose and throat in 15 seconds? And hydrogen peroxide can do it in under 30 seconds. Decades of studies, including many conducted during COVID, have shown that properly prepared and used nasal spray and gargling solutions can reduce your risk of infection, reduce viral load, reduce symptoms, and reduce transmission of viruses. To learn more, go to healthyimmunitynow.org and check out the EFU Challenge. Why spread fear and infection when nature provides solutions? Go to healthyimmunitynow.org today.
The information contained in this episode is for informational purposes only. No material is intended to be a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment.